Hello everybody and welcome back to another Kotetsu Gunpla review, and today I'm going to be taking a look at the 2007 kit, Master Grade RX-78-2, the 1-year war version. First things first, when we look at this kit, we'll take a look at the box here, and you can see that the date is 2007, so it is a little bit of an older kit, but not too bad. And then when it sold for the price of 3,200 yen, but it is an older kit, so it does have some drawbacks. The first big thing will be unpainted weapons. The Hyper Bazooka itself is missing a lot of white, as you can tell. It should be no issue to go in there with a Gundam marker of some sort, or spray it, or mask it and spray it off. But it does come off as being a little bit cheap. These stickers here, they are the older style stickers, so they do have a lot of extra clear space, like a film around it, so they don't look very good when they're on the kit. But it does make up for it by giving you plenty of dry rub transfers. Now on to articulation, which this guy is pretty versed in. Starting with the head, it can look up a significant amount, down pretty far, chicken neck, go back and forth, go all the way around. Just gotta be careful with the beam saber handles sometimes. And tilt and tilt. The shoulders have a interesting device on them that allows them to go really high up. So the arms can go that high up. There is a swivel beneath the shoulder. The elbow, of course, is a double joint, which is fairly impressive. Ball jointed wrist. The normal kind of master grade hands, get these to focus here, where the trigger finger itself is molded separately, and these are molded together, but they can be separated fairly easily. The chest has a little bit of articulation, going forwards and backwards with a little bit of an ab crunch. A little bit side to side, but not a whole lot. And then this opening hatch gimmick that shows the cockpit of the core fighter. You can paint that up. I didn't have blue paint at the time, and now it'll be nearly impossible to get in there unless I take apart this. So I'm just leaving it as is because I don't have any plans to pose it with that open. Anyway, the chest also has these vents that are articulated, so you can have them shut. Each shutter here is independently hinged, so you can have them however you would like them. And some of them are kind of hard to get to, so you might need to use a toothpick. Moving around back here, we're going to take a look at the backpack articulation. The beam saber handles go that far forward, that far back, that far in, and that far out. They are pretty easy to take out. They just have a little peg in there, and you just slide it back in there. Sometimes they are a little bit tricky to get back in because the part itself moves, but it's not too big of an inconvenience. Then the only other articulation on the backpack is these thrusters that can move up only that far and down. The front skirts can come up that high, they can go out that far to the side, and they're pretty tight in place, so they do hold the pose quite nicely. The side skirts only come out about that far before they hit the torso there. The back skirts have about the same articulation that's in the front. The hips can only go out about that far before the top of the hip actually hits the peg in there. You do have a little bit of a swivel there, but not fantastic by any means. The knee is double jointed, but can only go about that far before the back of the leg here runs into the joint. The ankle armor can go up and down. The toes bend down, and that actually pushes the ankle armor out of the way, so it's kind of a neat gimmick. And as you can see, there are some moving pistons that are in there that I actually painted, and they do look quite nice. And the legs themselves have a unique gimmick that allows them to go forward and backwards. And next we'll take a look at the colors. On the head we have a sticker there for the red camera. On the back we also have a red sticker. And pretty much just the eyes are going to be the only other sticker that really they had to add for color. But the dry rub transfers look really nice on the shoulder there, the RX-78-2 Gundam there. I did an ESFF, can't even say it, EFSF logo there, And then the rest are actually stickers that I took from other kits, other Master Grade releases, and I just used them because they're a little bit newer and they looked nicer as a whole than the old ones with the extra space around it that kind of looks unsightly when you put them on. Moving to the back here, we actually have a weapon storage unit right there that just consists of a poly cap inside the plastic. Get him to stand up temporarily, or I'll set him down. And then you see on the beam rifle and the hyper bazooka that actually has this little piece of plastic here that folds out that you can actually just clip into that pocket there. And starting with the accessories here, we'll see that we have a very nice shield, very well detailed. It does have quite a bit of lining on it. Sometimes that's a turnoff for people. I don't mind too much. It just makes a little extra work when you're trying to go around and line out all the details. But as you can see, I put a dry rub transfer on there, looking quite nice. It does have a window in there that's a little clear piece of plastic. And then the back is very, very plain, but it does have weapon mounts. So you can mount the hyper bazooka, the rifle, and I believe you can mount a beam saber handle in there as well. We get a very nice beam rifle. The plastic is a little bit off-colored. It's more of like a purple gray than just a standard gray. It also seems a little bit more brittle than most Bandai kits models nowadays. It does have a nice orange scope on there. The detail on this thing is really well executed. The handle can move to each side there, as you can see, as well as the sight can swivel to each side. Other than that, you're not going to get a whole lot of playability with this. It does have a notch so that you can hold it in the hand way more securely, as you notice, may be able to tell. I have done quite a bit of dry brushing on this kit, not a whole lot, just enough to make some of the accessories a little less plain. And next up we have the Gundam hammer. It does seem a little bit out of place on this kit, and there are nub marks galore on this, but overall I can't complain about an extra accessory. It is molded in that same kind of gray purple plastic instead of the normal. The chain, it's alright, it does have some minor flaws, and then the handle doesn't have a notch, so it doesn't hold on to it very securely at all, and there's not really a place to store it on him unless you wrap it around his chest or if you wrap it around the hyper bazooka. And of course, what would Gundam be without a beam saber? He does have two, and both of the beam effect parts that it comes with are this nice, little bit lighter than normal pink color, and they are curved, so you can get some really decent action shots going if you have a knack for posing. As you get closer here, you can see that there is quite a bit of detail molded into the handle, which I always appreciate, but it does bring up concern for people who don't like to panel line a whole lot. For the last of the accessories, we have this hyper bazooka, which I had already talked about a little bit, that is missing a lot of paint, or a lot of colors I should say, so it will need paint to look good. I haven't done anything to this at all, just because I don't like Gundam bazookas very much. They don't sit well, they're kind of awkward, and I just like to stay away from them if possible. But it does have the notch in the handle so that it stays in the hand fairly securely. It does rest on the shoulder pretty well, but it's still got quite a few problems. And then last but not least, we have this little tiny pilot figure of Amuro, and his shield can actually hold both the rifle and the bazooka. It is a little bit awkward, but he can hold it. As stated, he can hold his shield with both weapons mounted on it pretty securely. It's a little bit awkward because it throws his balance off, like I'm holding on to his ankle because he moves a little bit too much for it to be secure. He'll start to lean forward, and because of the movement of his toe, he starts to fall forward. I always appreciate it when a Gundam can grab his own beam saber, and though it's a bit awkward, he can pull off the famous kneeling pose. And posed like this, he doesn't look half bad either. Should you buy this kit? I would say yes, depending. If you really like the RX-78-2, I'd say go for it. However, if you're more into the anime aesthetics, I would definitely go with the 3.0 Master Grade version instead of this one, just because it does have a fair amount of issues. Not significant ones, but just enough little ones that kind of make you hesitant, especially for the price that you can get these for, which is about $40 from most retailers. I personally like the lines and the accents everywhere because it reminds me of a scaled up RG. The decals look nice, the dry rub ones. I don't like the stickers that they give you. However, some people will argue that it has too many lines and it's just too much of a pain to deal with. that doesn't bother me a whole lot, but this kit does suffer from a bunch of other things like really weak ankles. So anytime you're trying to get him posed forward or anything, his feet go up so easy, he just buckles. Like, it's ridiculous how easy these feet can be pushed up. So just under his own weight, he falls forward because the front joints of his feet can't support him. So he is a little bit tricky to pose, but overall the details that you can put into this kit and make it look great are well worth it, especially if you just take the little bit of extra effort to paint like pistons and actually work on like decaling and doing a little bit of dry brushing, which I have done on this kit all over. So I really love this kit. I suggest that if you're a fan of the original Gundam series and a big fan of the RX-78-2, just go out and buy it because it is worth it. Thanks for watching, everybody. This has been another Kotetsu Gunpla review, and tune in next time.